Well, all right, everybody, so we're going to get started now. For the people watching, it's April 10, 2025. We're filming live at the Freeport Tuna Club. If you don't know anything about our club and you'd like to join, check out the website, ftcfishing.com, and look into it. We meet in the summertime every Thursdays at 7, weather dependent. Check out the website, make sure we're meeting, and a lot of guys ask if they need a boat. You don't need a boat. The only thing we ask is you have a good attitude and you're willing to learn, and you'll be very happy here. So tonight, it's my pleasure to introduce Captain Rich Conolly. He's been fishing since he was in a baby carry-on seat. He's been working on fishing boats since he was 12 years old. And he's been building custom rods for the last 22 years. Tonight he's going to talk about pretty much everything about rods. And you'll learn what makes a true custom rod to fit, and he goes into detail. How long your forearm is, how tall you are. He really, when you go with him, you truly get a custom rod. After he speaks, we have several rods. Some of the guys brought in their rods, and he's going to do a rod evaluation. So he'll look at your rod, look at your setup, and he'll tell you the pros and cons of your setup, what it's good for, what it's not good for. And finally, once he finishes his presentation, the first raffle tonight is going to be for the custom rod. So as soon as he's done with the presentation, we're going to draw the first raffle. So you guys still have a few minutes to buy a raffle ticket. It's going to be a custom rod. He's going to fit you tonight, worth about $350. So without further ado, Captain Rich, please take the floor.
All right. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Real quick, my name is Captain Rich Conolly. I hold a 100-ton license. I've run boats from as small as 30-foot pursuits all the way up to 110, 120-foot head boats. So anything that has to do with the water, I've done it. I've gone up and down the East Coast chasing tuna, and now I reside here in Seaford. I've been building rods since I'm about 18 years old. So just about like it was said, about 22 years building rods. I have 4 IGF tournament wins on a couple of my rods, and also I'm not sure if you guys know of the WICC Bluefish tournament on the North Shore. I have captained 6 wins while chartering. So, oh great, congratulations. So that's a little bit about me, but let's get into what it is for a custom rod. So yes, you can buy a rod right off the shelf, but it's like buying a Honda, and there's nothing wrong with it, right? It's economical. It's going to get you to and from where you want to go. It's going to get you to fish. It's going to, you're going to catch fish on it. There's nothing wrong with buying a store-bought, off-the-rack kind of rod. When you get into custom rods, it's like going to that Lamborghini, that Bentley, that super high class, really next level worth of fishing. You're gonna feel those micro bites, and everybody knows what I'm talking about. Those little taps that is the difference between catching a 10-pound blackfish or getting dragged into the rock when they're pulling you back underneath. So the way I do my custom rods is way different than probably 90% of the people that are out there that are building custom rods. I fit the rod strictly to you, everything from reel seat placement, grip lengths, acid wrap tips, everything. It's not just about color, and it's not just about picking fancy colors. Right? We do everything from titanium reel seats, titanium guides, aluminum guides, graphite, composite. The amount of different options that you can choose is almost endless. So, any questions? Yeah, aluminum too. We try to stay away from the aluminum because of the saltwater environment. It does pit. I don't care how well it's anodized. how well it's taken care of. We all know, we all have boats, or anyone who knows somebody who has a boat or lives near the water, salt water is not forgiving. And aluminum is a very soft metal, and it pits and corrodes almost instantly. That's why everything on the water is usually stainless steel. That's the minimum that I would use in any one of my custom rods that we have here. All right, stainless steel, titanium, composite, and we go from there. So when it comes to actually with the rods, right, we have all different blanks, different builds that I have here already that I've built for customers that live in the area that I show off their rods because it's pretty much one of each different kind that you can get. This is would be your normal striped bass rod set up as a spinner. Super, super light. If anybody wants to come up, as you can see, it's almost perfectly balanced right at the reel seat. Right? This is what you want in a true rod, true custom rod. Whereas normally on a store-bought rod, the reel might be too far back, so you'll actually be way back heavy and the tip sits high, right? Or it'll be too far forward or too heavy for the reel seat, for the reel that you're using. I take all that into consideration, especially what kind of reel you're using, because every reel could be different weights, and that throws off the balance of every rod. So, as far as anything you really want me to go over, we're going to go over the way it gets fitted with whoever wins the raffle. So we'll get into that a little bit more at that time, but I'll open it to any questions, anything like that. Anybody wants to know more about it, you know, by all means.
If anybody has questions, please raise your hand so we can get it on this. Yes.
What blanks are you
Well,
using?
just please in this so everybody can hear you.
What blanks are you using?
Yep. All right. So that's a great question. I am a pro builder for Palmaris. So all of my boat rods, my jigging rods, my slow pitch rods, my bottom rods, they're all by the Palmaris. That's their whole line. And anything that's larger, any kind of tuna chunking, mahi, any kind of pelagic, I'm a pro builder with rain shadow. So all my higher end or larger pelagic fishing is all done with rain shadow blanks, and everything below pelagic is all with Palmaris.
Everything is 7 feet or bigger?
No, I had rods that go all the way down to like 5.5 foot. So Palmaris makes a 5'6", and they go all the way up to about 8 foot for their inshore rods, and then for anything larger than 8 foot, we switch to rain shadow, which is all my tuna blanks, my surf rods, any of my ice fishing rods, or my micro rods. I go through rain shadow.
Captain, could you, just with some of the rods you have, could you show us maybe what, like a snap jigging rod would be, why that's particularly good for snap jigging?
Yep.
A blackfish rod, and go over like maybe the composition of why that's a good rod.
All right, so for a snap jig rod, I use this particular blank, right? This is a 7-foot slow pitch rod, right? It's called for slow pitch. Super light, super balanced. It's good up to 3 ounces. The reason why we use a longer rod, especially for snap jigging, is you want the tip of the rod to actually do most of the work, right? So whenever you pick up a blank, whenever you pick up a rod, you always want to find the spine of the rod first, right? And can I get somebody to come up and volunteer to hold the rod? Come on, somebody. All right. Put that under your arm. All right? Feel the backbone in your hand? Right? So, for a snap jig rod, all you're doing is you're trying to entice a bite that when a fish or a species is completely turned off, right? We all have been there, fluke fishing, sea bass fishing, black fishing. Snap jigging has become extremely popular with blackfish lately. It's all done with ball jigs or some sort of resin jig for snaps. And all you're doing is just as it sounds. You're just snapping the tip, right? The reason why you want that light rod, that light blank, is because you don't want your wrist to get tired all day long doing this. Eventually, you start making bigger movements because you're tired, right? But when you're this light, you're able to really get that snap. I mean, you felt how light the blank is. This blank comes in at like 3.5 ounces. Once it's fully built out, it probably comes in at about 11 ounces, completely done. For blackfish, you want something that's a little bit more backbone, because you want to be able to pull them up and out of the rocks quickly. This is one of the older blanks that I used, which was a Thresher 73 raw. It's good up to like 40 pound line, 10 ounce weight, right? So super tight backbone, but it's going to give you that lift. Once you're up, no, don't worry, it's not going to snap.
No joking.
Oh, you're the snapper? All right, good. So you're my next guy coming up then.
You just stop crying. You'll be sorry.
See the line? Put it on your arm.
Get the net! Get the net!
Good.
Get the net!
I don't want to walk towards you. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
If you had that ride, you still have it.
So, you know what I did? We had a seminar ourselves. We did, and I took the rod and I went like this and did it.
Yeah.
I snapped it
Yeah.
because I didn't have the backbone.
Right. So I'm glad that you brought that up.
I did that. I went like that. And snapped it.
So the dynamic of every rod, right? This is what he did was he top loaded the rod, right? Or he high sticked the rod, right? You hear it all the time. People will catch a fish, they'll get into the boat, they don't want to wait for a net or on an ultralight or something very light spinning. They'll choke up on the rod up here and lift, try to swing the fish in. The worst thing you could possibly do on any rod, no matter what.
I was demonstrating the rod to show people.
Yeah, well,
I went from here to here to snap. Boom.
I mean,
That's why that seminar didn't go over real well.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Nobody's caught a fish yet.
right? So, any other questions?
What's that rod made out of? What material?
This, very good. This is the Palmaris. Their Palmaris line is made in Japan. It's made with Toray carbon fiber and fiberglass inlays.
So what is it, S-class with it? They put it on?
So it's not a true S glass, it's a cross weave, and it's done with 8-strand weave from at the beginning of the backbone to where the reel seat is, and above it is Toray nano glass.
Captain, so for the guys that like to fluke and they want a really good action, what would you recommend and why?
So the blank that I just had is the Palmaris boat rod light. That rod, believe it or not, is actually good up to 6 ounce in jig weight. As low as 1, as high as 6. I use that primarily for all of my ocean fluking up around the reefs, Hempstead, McAllister, Rockaway. When you get those mid to late fluke bites, that you get the big guys that come in and hover through, especially down by Ambrose, I'll use that with a really light, probably like 2.5, 3, 4 ounce, depending on the current. And you can sit there and, jig that all day long and not get tired. Now, if I'm inshore, I use, Dill, grab that. Yeah. So this is my inshore blank that I use for inside the bays. This is good from 1/4 to 1.5 ounce. This is early season fluking when they're up in the shallows in that 5, 6, 8 feet of water, right? Has enough backbone that even if you did high stick, you're not doing it, right? It's gonna last you, right? Feel how light this blank is.
Wow.
2.5 ounces.
Oh, yeah. Very nice.
That's my inshore fluke sea bass, early season sea bass. Anything down at the bridges, on the way out, we do something like that.
Any other questions? Don't poke your eye out.
What about, let me get you. I just want to know, like, a lot of the rods, do you like to have a finger grip on the rods?
So, me personally, I don't like fishing with a trigger grip. That's just my personal preference. So, what's a trigger grip? So, a trigger, you'll see them on conventional reels, on conventional rods, right? Has the little grip on the back half for you to kind of hold with one finger, right? It's supposed to give you a little bit more, support on the blank. I build my conventional rods with trigger grips very differently than other people. Normally, the trigger is on the bottom. This is how every person has ever fished it. That's how they know it to fish. Depending on the size of your hand, depends on where I place the trigger. If you have smaller hands, I put the trigger at the bottom. If you have bigger hands, I flip the reel seat and put the trigger at top. Reason being, most people with bigger hands want to grip the pole and grip the reel just like this. They're going to fish it holding onto the reel because usually their hands wrap around the rod. It's uncomfortable. It gets tiring. They want something bigger to grip onto. When the reel seat with the trigger is on the top side of the reel, you can actually hold it in between the same 2 fingers that you would at the bottom, but be able to grip and hold the entire rod and still not get fatigue in the wrist or in the hand itself. That's for trigger grips are only used on conventional. Straight, non-trigger gripped is primarily used only on spinning setups, or can be used as conventional as well. I personally fish them without, no trigger. Any other questions?
What's the purpose of spinning the guides?
Okay, great question. So, what's the purpose of spinning the guides? A spun guide is called an acid wrap, right? So what an acid wrap is, it takes the torque out of the blank itself. So every rod, when it's built from the factory, it's rolled into a rod. They're not sitting there and folding the material. It's actually rolled under pressure in a machine. Every time something is rolled, there's a natural spin to everything that is built that way. Any electricians in the room? Or anybody work with wire or cable or anything like that? All right, so if not, when cable is spun, it keeps a natural roll or a natural bend. Same thing with a fishing rod. There's a spine which is the stiffness on one side of the blank versus the other. And no matter what, under load, the rod wants to roll or spin in a certain direction. Depending on if you're left-handed or right-handed, how you fish, depends on how we spin the guides so that the line comes out underneath the blank versus on top of the blank when it comes to conventional. It takes the torque and it takes the fatigue out of fishing for longevity, especially deep dropping and deep fishing.
When you set the rod up, you put the spine on the top or on the bottom of the...
Depends on what kind of blank or what kind of rod we're setting up. If it's a conventional rod, I build with the blank spine up and the guides running on the spine, right? If I'm building a spinning rod, spine is still up, but you build on the bottom side or the flat or the flex side of the spine, right? Everything just like your back, you know, always you bend forward. The strong side of your spine is the back side. It only will go so far when you go backwards. Same thing with a rod.
So it's conventional or spinning, the spine is always on the top.
Always on top, the way I build it. You know, there are some builders that say, oh, well, technically you want to roll the spine or this and that. I disagree with that because a spine, just like you are, only flexes so far in the opposite direction the way that it wants to go, right? When you bend over, you can almost touch your toes. Well, most people can touch their toes, right? So the bend will always go. You'll have way more flex and way more forgiveness when you go with the strong side of the spine up. You're not fighting against it.
Captain, can you talk a little bit about the components you use, like some of the hardware? I know I saw some of the stuff is Fuji brand.
Yeah.
And also maybe cork versus foam, things like that.
Yeah, so I use primarily two guide types, Fuji and Alps, right? Fuji is for all of my bottom fishing, deep drop, anything like that. It's a little bit more of a robust sensitivity when it comes to the guides. They also come titanium and multiple different ring inserts. The ring inserts are a big deal because depending on what how you're fishing, braided line, mono, fluorocarbon, wire, that all plays into what kind of guides you want to use. If you're fishing with wire, if anybody trolls for striped bass using spoons, you're gonna fish with wire line. You're not going to use any kind of ring insert. You want to use what's called wire guides, right? There's no ceramic insert because it'll cut grooves into it. If you're fishing with braid, I use either alkanite, which is with Fuji's product. There's alkanite or there's SiC, silicon carbide inserts. When it comes to larger pelagic, I switch over to the Alps. I personally feel that Alps it's more of a robust, they're built out of stainless steel and titanium, and they also have a harder ring insert for 80, 90, 100-pound braid, all the way up to 250-pound fluorocarbon going through it, and it doesn't mark the fluorocarbon, and it doesn't leave any kind of marks in the ring itself as well.
Anything else? If there's not, we'll draw the winner. President will draw it, and then I guess we'll do a custom fitting.
Absolutely.
So after
purple
he
marker.
does the custom fitting, a bunch of guys brought in their rods, and Captain is going to do an evaluation of our rods. Tell us what he thinks of our rods. He's going to do that at the end.
Very good.
Thank you.
I learned a lot.
Thank you.
Just a little bit of time.
Yeah. To answer your question, the difference between cork and EVA.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So EVA is softer on your hand when you're fishing longevity, bigger, longer fights. Cork is more sensitive. It's a better direct bond to the blank itself, and you don't lose the vibration when you're fishing with EVA or foam. Think about like if you're insulating a speaker or something. People put foam or or insulation. It's sound dampening, right? It stops the vibration. When you're fishing with cork, you get way more feel and vibration down into the grip where you're usually sitting and setting the line.
And as far as longevity, is EVA would probably last longer?
EVA will last longer if the cork is not sealed properly. I seal all of my corks, and I seal my heavier, when it comes to heavier fishing, I also seal my EVA. So if you see on this white rod, if anybody comes up later on, you'll see that this is actually sealed versus something that's not, some of the other ones that are not.
Question, where do you set your balance point? Just forward of the grip?
I'm sorry.
Where do you set your balancing point?
So it really depends on the kind of rod. If I'm deep dropping, if I'm doing more of a snap jig, if I'm doing slow pitch, I set my reel slightly forward so that I'm more forward heavy, which is going to give you a lot more snap and swing on especially the slow pitch jigs. Anything kind of, so slow pitch I set slightly forward. Snap jigging I actually set a little bit back of the fulcrum point because I want to be able to get that tip up and use the weight of the butt of the rod to help snap that tip up.
Well, my question is, where is your focus?
Usually for me, it's either right at the reel seat or just in front of the reel seat, right? Because I take into account what reel you're using so that I can balance the rod off of the weight of your reel as well. So let's say, for instance, this is a slow pitch jig rod. My balance point is right at the reel, one finger.
How come your foregrips are so short? Like I've seen them so couple of your rods.
It's just aesthetic. The foregrip really plays absolutely no part in the build of the rod except for when you're fighting pelagic fish. When you're fighting pelagic, you want something a little bit bigger in the front half of the rod. It's more to grip for comfort and stuff like that. Any kind of bottom fishing, you're rarely ever putting your hand in front of the reel, so you're not really fighting the fish from a front. Pelagic, tuna, deep drop, anything like that, jigging for tile, when you want to have that extra oomph to control a fish, I make the foregrips a little bit longer. Usually with the fitting, I have the person put two hands in case if they needed to really bear down. I want to make sure that they have enough grip that both hands are going to fit on that grip.
What do you prefer, cork or your own?
Depending on what I'm fishing for. If I'm fishing pelagic, I want more EVA. I want the foam. Yeah, because I want that comfort on a 3, 4, 5, 8 hour fight, right? And I'm talking giant tuna, that kind of stuff.
Fishing the bay, you want cork.
If I'm fishing the bay, fluke, sea bass, porgies, blackfish even, I'm fishing with cork. My personal rods are built with cork because I want to feel every little tip or tap at every single one. I want to know if this fish is swimming past the bait so that I know how to set.
Okay, so if there's no more questions, we're going to ask our new member, George, if he would come up and pull a winning ticket.
Thank you so much for the wedding ticket. Now this is the turkey round.
All right, guys, listen up. Last three digits, 451. 451. All right, we got a winner.
Shake them up.
All right, brother, congratulations. Over here. 451? Yes, verified. All right, so Dan, please come up here with Captain Rich. Captain Rich is going to give you an on-the-spot custom. He's gonna measure you and give you an on-the-spot custom.
That one and the one next to it. All right. So, what kind of fishing do you do?
A lot.
Okay. Inshore, offshore?
Mostly inshore.
Mostly inshore. All right. Fluke, sea bass?
Fluke, sea bass, yeah, that type of stuff.
Okay. Ultralight, or do you use a heavier jig?
I use 8-ounce singers.
Pause for a second.
Oh, not in the bay. I'm on collar, I use them.
All right. So, when you fish in the bay, early season, fluke and stuff like that?
2 ounce.
2 ounce. All right. So, we're going to snap jig or
No, it's a bucktail teaser.
bucktail teasers. All right. We're going to go with, go either one. So, which one do you?
Well, this one's whoops.
This can go up to 2 ounces.
Right.
This can go up to like 3.5, 4.
Go with this one.
This is a little bit more of a backbone.
Yeah.
You can really snap jig it if you wanted to. You can slow pitch it. You can teaser it. Like, you can do a lot of fishing with this.
Right.
This is a much lighter, smaller, early season, ultra light, up to 2 ounces. The sweet spot is like that 1 ounce, fluttering.
Yeah. Go with this one.
This one?
Yeah, the lighter one.
All right. Okay.
Wow, that is light.
All right. Let's put it under your arm. Okay. How do you normally fish? Spinning or?
If I have to cast, I use spinning. If I have, if I just do drops from boat, conventional.
How would you rather this be? Spinning or conventional?
I'll go with conventional.
Conventional. All right. So, under your arm. All right. We come a little bit further back.
Right.
All right. Grab the rod where you would want your hand to be fighting a fish.
Fighting a
if
fish?
you were reeling up.
You grab it like this.
And that's where you're cranking, right?
Yeah,
All right,
I'm
so
cranking like this.
put your hand right here. Right there. Split grip or full grip?
Full grip usually.
Full grip. Okay, put that back under. Does that feel comfortable right there?
Yes, it's good.
So right now this is even pretty much right with your armpit.
Right.
Right? When it comes to a conventional, I like to have it a little bit further back. It helps with the balance more.
Sure.
So we're gonna change this to be here. Okay. And you said full grip, right?
Yeah, full grip.
All right. Tell me. This will be fluke, sea bass, any kind of ultra light early season bay fishing.
So it's up to a 2 ounce?
Up to 2 ounce, yeah. All right, so put that right back under your arm again. All right. Perfect. All right. All right. Next thing is going to be reel seats. Do you want to do anodized aluminum, or we can do graphite, which is going to keep it ultra light, the graphite,
Right.
and then we can do trigger seat, or we can do flat.
Go with the graphite. And I guess I'll do the trigger seat. Or the trigger.
With the trigger?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna go acid wrap, conventional, and we're gonna go with what color, guys? Black, gunmetal, or silver?
I'll go gunmetal.
All right, so over here, right?
Right.
Match with the real seats. You got black, gunmetal,
Okay.
or silver. It'll be a lighter like this. Gunmetal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bon Jovi music.
There you go. Fuji real seat with the trigger. I'm gonna go rubber bell. Grip style, you said full?
Yes.
Okay. And 3 colors on the thread. Or you can even, let's pick the grip first.
This one.
Okay, black and gray. Okay.
We'll go 36, 37.
Okay.
I guess one black.
Black.
Yeah.
All right. And then as far as a design on it, we can do chevron. This right here. I don't want to get too close to the
Yeah.
to the thing. This is a 3D chevron.
Right.
This is a standard chevron.
Right.
This is a diamond. This is a epoxy marbling.
I'll go with epoxy marbling.
Epoxy marble. All right, and I'll match the colors as much as I can to that thread for the marbling. All right.
Sure.
And then once we turn the mics off, I'll get your phone number and everything else. This way, it's not getting doesn't get posted.
Yeah.
All right, and that's it.
All right.
All right.
Sounds good.
Split grip. I would measure out where your armpit sits so that it's the most comfortable.
Right.
But since it's a full grip, it makes the fitting extremely easy. So
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of split grips anymore.
yeah, I like them because it gives you a lot of sensitivity at the bottom end of the pole.
Right.
Especially if you're bottom fishing.
Right.
You'll feel it all the way into your backhand. But
Well, even
you
if I'm holding like at the even if I'm holding that thing, because when I'm fishing, especially the ocean fluke, and I usually just hold the reel.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Yeah, that's it.
All right.
Give me a few weeks.
Sure.
All right, and then once we hang up, I'll get all the information from you.
Okay.
All right. Sounds good, man.
All right. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Everybody, please say congratulate Daniel for his new rod. If anybody watching wants to get a custom rod like this, please give Captain Rich a call. Can you zoom in on the number? That's him. Rods by Rich right there. Give him a call. You also have a Facebook site, Captain?
Yeah, Rods by Rich
Okay.
is the Facebook, and this is the direct link right to my Facebook page.
Okay, so that's the link, and then any fitting, everybody has the option of all of this, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Thank you again. We really appreciate it, Captain.
No problem. Thank you.